Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today's video is not going to be a brand new face. It actually might be a pretty quick video, I think. We'll see. But if you follow me on my other social media platforms, TikTok and Instagram, not the most active person on those, but I did put up together a couple of reels of mishmashing, creating my own highlighter, bronzer, blush, and eyeshadow palette. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is taking those products that I created and made those reels for, and finally trying them out here on the face. I've had these created for quite some time, and I'm finally getting around to making the video. And I'm so eager and so excited to try these out and see if they actually worked out as products. So yeah, if you are excited for this kind of video, give the video a big thumbs up and like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Typically we do our brand new face videos, but I like to kind of mix a couple of other types of videos in between here now and then. So let's just jump on into it. So one of the products that we created, the first one that we're going to use today, is the eyeshadow palette. Now this is the product that took me the longest and actually the last product that I created, but we're gonna start with our eyes. I've already got a base of makeup on, like foundation, and I've done brows off camera, so we're gonna just be focusing on these. But this is the eyeshadow palette. Not too bad. It's not like the most, like the best put together, like story of colors and stuff. It's pretty rainbowy and then some basics and stuff on the bottom, but I was just trying to see how creative I could get with some of the products that I had. And the products that I made this and the other blush, highlighter, bronzer and stuff, the products I used were products that I was anticipating on getting rid of. I kind of just went through that get rid of stash and pulled things out, and I was like, let's try to repurpose these a little bit. And took from a couple of eyeshadow palettes here, a couple of eyeshadow palettes here, a couple of blushes that I was going to be getting rid of, and just kind of took little bits and pieces of every single one and mixed them together to create these little mishmashy custom, I guess, products. So yeah, we're going to start with the eyes here. On the TikTok reels, I put some swatches in. I'll try to insert some of that footage as well. Again, editing Mary, you can do this. You can figure it out, but we're going to create a look using the eyeshadow palette here. This is the finally the first time that I will be using this, and I'm so excited. Don't know at all what to expect of it. No clue. Let's start with this lightest shade down here. I kind of created like a light to dark, kind of these browns down here, and ideas of building up like a base, and then you could put your color and stuff on top. So we're gonna start with the lightest of the browns down here as our main transition. Ooh, it is, ooh, dusty. She is dusty. All right, and we'll start by putting this in the crease. Not too bad so far. Now, because this was handcrafted, if you will, they were also like hand pushed. I didn't use any like additional weight except for the weight of my arms to press everything in to the pans. And so I think that's one big part of them being so dusty, because they're just not pressed very hard at all. So far so good. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye. Okay, so that is one shade so far. Not bad for a transition. We are gonna try to add a little bit more depth here and go into the next darkest shade on the bottom there and kind of just see how well they'll blend together. I'm gonna use the same brush here and just darken on the outer bit here a little bit. Now, when I was creating these bottom brown shades, they should, for the most part, all be matte, and then everything else above is all shimmer which with the majority of the palette being shimmer, that's not typically my favorite thing, but I was just so obsessed with the shine that I just put it in all of the colors, and then I just left the browns at the bottom to be matte. But when creating these brown colors at the bottom, there's not just eyeshadow in these. A lot of the browns, and especially like the darker ones here, I took like old powder brow products to create those, and of course also used like bronzer and stuff like that in the browns and stuff. There's probably more brow product and bronzer in these lower shadows down here. Okay. I don't know how much of a difference adding this shade in did. Maybe just slightly. It's a little bit more of a cool toned, I would say. So maybe it created just a slight bit of depth. I'm gonna leave it there for now, but I do think I'm gonna try to add more depth with this next shade here a little further down. But let's get into some color. Now I know that for the look we're gonna create today, we're not gonna be able to use every single shadow up here. And I haven't even like really thought out what I'm going to do. I am just gonna quickly point out like my two favorite colors that I had so much fun creating for some reason were these two right here. This orange is probably my favorite. I don't know why, but like mixing it up, it just looks so, so pretty. And then a very, very close second to that is definitely this red here. It just, oh, so fun to make. So we'll probably be using at least one of those. And then another really fun color that I created was this one right here. This was kind of like a combination of what was pre-existing in this palette. This is an old LA Girls color palette. If you guys remember from my LA Girls brand new face video, I took that one fully apart. And so this was the eyeshadows, a little bit of every single color that was in the previous palette, and I put that into that one there. Let's just go into the orange. We know that that's the color that's the big color I want to use. So let's go ahead and go into that. I want to just go in with my finger. That's what I'm usually the most comfortable with doing. But I do want to first try with a brush here. So I'm going to take this Luna Magic brush. It's a smaller brush. It's not too dense, but it's got like a nice little like angle to it. To me, it's somewhat represents a finger. Also a very, very dusty, but let's first try laying this down this way. Okay, with a brush, you're getting the pigment. It is definitely showing up in there. I feel like I'm not getting a lot of the shimmer that is in there. I've got a lot of like gold flecks in here that I'm not really seeing on the eye, so I think a lot of that is being brushed off or tapped off. And I'm not seeing a lot of that on the eye. So I am gonna go over this now with my finger to see if we can get some more of that glitter and see if it is just a little bit more pigmented that way. So grabbing on our finger here, I'm just gonna go right over that. And I'm getting a little bit more of the shimmer gold to come in this way, but it actually is still a pretty matte eyeshadow. I was not expecting that. In the pan, it looks like it's going to be very metallic-y, or not metallic-y, but just like there's a lot of little glittery flecks in there, and I thought a lot more of that would have sat on the eye here, but it does have a very matte base, and just ever so slightly you're getting those little gold bits in there. Very cool. Okay. Wow, did not expect that at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye here. I think I'm gonna still do the brush first. I liked that. And then we will go in with our finger afterwards. And just going back into the original blending brush here, I'm going to just make sure everything blends into that transition nicely. Add just a little bit of the lightest product so there's no gapping here. Okay. So far, I am really liking this color here so far. Again, it's not as glittery as I thought it was going to be, but I like the pigment of it. It is still very pigmented, and I do like the matte base that it has. So I am going to now, just using my finger here again, I'm gonna go over it with the red here. This one is a lot softer. I think a lot more thinner products were used, or it just blended it better. I don't know. So here's the red. I'm going to lay this over top. Okay, that is bringing a little bit more sheen to the eye, pulling away the matte from it. I think that looks very pretty. I'm not going too heavy with it. Ooh, it's so soft. It's like about to crumble in the pan. I'm not going too heavy here with it because I want that orange still to show through. Kind of just using it almost as like a topper to make this kind of very fun orangey red color. So now let's take this ColourPop E18 brush. It's a little bit more of a flat, somewhat fluffy brush. It has a little bit of a point to it as well. And I'm going to go into that next darkest brown matte shade. Build that up on the tip here. And we're gonna start creating more depth here at the end. And then using that same brush, I'm just gonna ever so slightly go into the darkest of the brown shades and just try to build that up a little bit more. So far the eyes are coming together pretty nicely. I'm really liking the colors that we've laid down here so far. I'm going to try going into now this shade right here. I was trying when I was doing this, because I've got red, orange, green, blue, purple, I was like, what do I have that can make somewhat of a yellow is what I was attempting with this, but I just didn't have enough other colors to try to create a yellow. So like yellow, gold was what was kind of in mind, but that's what came out instead. Totally okay. So I'm going to take that now and focusing more on the front area here, and we'll see how this lays over top of everything. Not doing a whole lot. It's a little... It's not gold, it's not yellow at all, it's a little bit more silvery, so not quite what I would have originally have gone for with a look like this, but hey, that's okay. There's almost like purple in there. I can't even remember what products and colors went into creating some of these, mostly just because it was from so long ago already when I did it. And now let's go ahead and take a small brush here, and we're gonna take the lightest shade here. I wanted to see if I could create a white, but also add some like shimmer into that as well. So I took, I think I only had like maybe 1 or 2 white eyeshadows that I used from this. And I mean, again, they were in my like get rid of drawer, so they weren't necessarily whites that I felt performed the best. So there's a chance this is not even gonna like give much. But then also, of course, added some shimmer into there, so maybe we'll still see that come through. Create a little bit of brightness in the inner corner there. We will most likely be going over that though with our highlighter here in a little bit. But that's where I'm gonna leave the top eyes here for now. I'm gonna quickly throw on a little bit of liner and some mascara, and then we will move on to the bottom lash here. Okay, so I quickly put on some eyeliner and some mascara, so let's now move on to the lower lash now. I'm gonna go in first, just using that ColourPop brush. I'm gonna dip into this third darkest shade right here and start by running that along the lower lash line, focusing most of the color near the back edge, but still pulling it not fully through, but about halfway, I guess, through. And then taking and flicking it up into the existing shadows on the top. Okay. I actually really like just having that kind of brown base. I would like to just leave it here, but I'm gonna, I don't know, try maybe using a little bit more color. I'm not gonna use any of the green, blue, or purple. I want to get a chance to use them, so maybe I'll have to create a second video using this, but not today. Let's go into, let's use the pink. I will just quickly clean off that ColourPop brush that we were using, dip into our pink color here, We'll run that starting kind of in the center. Can't really see that one, but that's okay. And then let's just take a little bit of our orange on that same, oh, it's so dusty. Same brush, kind of apply that in the same area. I'm gonna go back into that brown again. Just make sure we see enough of that out here. If you could see my desk right now from all of the knockoff from when I hit my brush and stuff, my desk is just covered in eyeshadow. It's doing a fine job of not falling out on the face, but a good amount of it is falling everywhere, all over my desk. So these are definitely very, very, very messy. But I think this is where we're gonna leave the eyes. I'm really liking how it's looking, so I'm gonna apply some mascara here and we will continue on with the rest of the face. Okay, the eyes are complete. I am really liking this kind of rusty orangey red color. And I also am really liking that it was just like, it's somewhat matte. I think this looks really fun, really pretty. So let's just keep on going. We're gonna hop into the face products here now. So we've got a highlighter, a blush, and a bronzer created. So let's start with bronzer. So for the bronzer, I decided to reuse this little e.l.f. compact that had, I believe, 2 types of bronzer in it originally, if I'm remembering correctly. And so I pulled those all out and I replaced one of them with a blush and one of them with a new custom bronzer. So we'll start with the bronzer here first. Now I did add shimmer. I just went shimmer crazy. I added shimmer into the blush and into the bronzer, which is not typically something I enjoy. Why did I do it? I don't know. Maybe that was also just part of just the types of products I was getting rid of. Typically, I don't hang on to a lot of more shimmer type bronzers and shimmer type blushes. I just don't like usually the emphasis on texture that it shows, or it's just a little too glowy for me. That could be why. But either way, we made a glowy bronzer, glowy brush, glowy bronzer, and a glowy blush. Why can't I say that? Glowy bronzer and glowy blush, and we'll be using those today. So for bronzer, we're going to use a fluffy brush. We're going to use our ColourPop F18 brush. We will dip on in. I imagine, again, this is going to be so lightly packed. And then I like to just kind of dab it on the back of my hand here first, or my wrist here, I guess. And let's apply. That's not bad. That's not bad. So far, just on the cheeks here. And I kind of really like it. I was worried, holy dusty. I was worried for one, the shimmer, but really similar to the eyes, I just think a lot of that's getting fluffed off, tapped off, not really sticking to the face. So bonus, loving that. And then I was worried that it would be an odd shade, like an odd color, but I don't think it is. Maybe it's the shirt, maybe the yellowness from the shirt. I don't know, maybe it won't always look like this, but I like the shade. I like how it's blending on. It's not too pigmented, but it's also like you see it on your first strokes. Like this only took like 2 dips in, and this is what I got. And I like that laydown. So very happy. That is very cool. Let's continue. Okay, so there is the bronzer fully applied. I'm pleased. I'm happy for myself. That's really pretty, I think, on the face here. I like that. Very, very awesome. Okay, let's do highlighter here now, and then we'll blend everything with the blush. So for highlighter, it's so messy looking in the pan. Here's what the highlighter looks like. Let's use, these are Sigma. Good old Sigma brush. This is the High Cheek Highlighter, F03. And we'll dip on in and apply. So for highlighter, we can see a little bit of a beaminess there. So on camera, it's looking not too bad. In person, it doesn't look that beamy, I don't think. It's always kind of hard to tell when you're recording. It's pretty. I think I was expecting a little more from it. Again, like all of the products, it is so dusty. It's all over my hand. I don't know if you'll be able to see that on camera here, but so dusty. Oh, and let's close that. Whoops. But the highlighter, it's pretty. But I think this was one of the products that I was hoping to be wowed by. And I'm not as wowed by it right now, but it is really pretty. So there's that. And then we will move on to the last product here, which is the blush. So going back into this little compact here, let's grab one of our e.l.f. angled blush brushes and dip on into this guy. Oh my gosh, so much. Poof. And let's bounce this on the cheeks. Okay, there is the blush applied. I'm going back and forth with it. When I was first blending it in, I was like, okay, it's very soft. Pigment doesn't punch on right away, but it's building, it's buildable. So I am starting to see it build up here, and it is laying really, really pretty. Sorry, where is that? Ugh, I'm so backwards. Yeah, it is laying down really, really pretty. So I'm liking the color, loving that, loving how it's all blending together. I do think I may have added just a touch too much shimmer. I don't like the over amount of shimmer versus the amount of pigment that initially comes off. So that's not my favorite part of it. I think it's looking pretty on camera here. I'm liking how everything's looking. I am gonna go back in with the bronzer here just so slightly and kind of bring a little bit of that back in. Okay, so that's all the products. I'm going to quickly finish up the look here, put on a lip product, set everything down, and then we will just quickly wrap up on what we thought of these products that we created. So this is our full look using the mishmashy. I don't know quite, when I was putting it on TikTok, I said mishmash. I don't know what the correct right term is, but using those products that we mished and mashed together from previous products, and I'm happy. Overall, I am so happy with how this look came together. It could have been so much worse, but this is a wearable look, I will say, and I'm very, very, very happy about that. So the eyes, overall, loving the base shades. I think that is a pretty good concept, having those matte browns going from light to dark, so you can build a pretty simple but matte transition and base that you can take a couple of other fun colors to build over top. So I like the concept of the matte browns in there. I wish I had a couple more corresponding colors that maybe work together. I used my favorites, the orange and the red, and I am very happy with how they're looking on the eyes here, but I am very excited to try out a couple of the other colors. I had to make a green. Since starting this channel, have realized how much I love green, and I know a lot of people don't like the color green on their eyes, so I felt that I had to make one so that I could try to come up with another fun green eye look. But anyways, I think the eyes are looking really pretty. Definitely didn't perform as I thought. I knew there was a chance of them being sort of sheer, but the orange, that's not the case. The red and the gold color, those seemed a little bit more sheer, kind of toppery than what I would have expected. The orange, however, did have a little bit more of like a matte base than what I thought it would have had, but loving the eyes, loving the eyes. And then for the face products here, bronzer, yeah, I think I'm gonna actually like use that. That was probably surprisingly my favorite product. I had so much fun with the eyeshadow palette. I thought that was gonna be the thing that I'd be obsessed with, which I am, but using that bronzer finally, I'm actually really happy. I was not expecting that the color would quite be a good tone, but I think it is, and I will be using that again. And then for the highlighter and the blush, I'm not too sure how often I'm going to use them. I'll have to use them a couple more times here to see how I feel about them. I wasn't as wowed and floored by them as I was with the bronzer and the performance of the eyeshadows. Overall, I'm really happy with how the look came together. I would love to know what you guys think of the look in the comments down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, like making and destroying your makeup and recreating something with it, is so fun and kind of therapeutic. So I'm going to be doing it more for sure. But if you want to see me create more of those reels and more videos with products like that, give the video a big thumbs up. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And leave your comments down below as to if you want to see that or other types of videos like this that you guys would like to see. And that's going to be everything for the video. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell before you leave. And I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing day. And I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.